You got to go on excursions?
Come on, give me a hug.
Oh, it is on my list.
Mayor, it's 5:30.
It is 5:30. We're going to call the meeting to order, and I'd like to call on Commissioner Uribe to lead us in the invocation.
Thank y'all for coming. I know it's a little out of the place but due to the elections that we moved in here, so I appreciate that. Y'all can join me in the Father's prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now we'll go to citizen communication. Amanda?
We have two, Mike Gonzalez, 1632 Sam Houston Drive, City Hall Operations, and wants to be called. So I'm going to go ahead and call him right now.
I'm here.
Oh, you're here?
Hi.
Oh, okay. You must.
Can you come to the podium, Mr. Gonzalez?
Hi, good afternoon.
And one thing is we are going to move to 3 minutes for citizen communication. So from 2 minutes, we're going to move to 3 minutes. So you have 3 minutes.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Now I have 60 seconds to think of what else I'm going to say. First of all, thank you all very much for the opportunity to speak. And it sure looks good to have you up here, Mayor. Congratulations again. I would like to take this time to talk about efficiency. Efficiency in city government. Having to do business with the city of Harlingen is a little rough right now, and hopefully with all this energy, it can carry on to be able to improve all the departments, in particular the building department. Right now, I've had a couple of experiences in trying to get a permit accomplished for an apartment complex, and efficiency is important if we're going to attract outside businesses to be able to provide housing for the citizens of Harlingen. I'm not sure if any of y'all ever had the opportunity to dial the 216-5000, which is the City Hall primary phone number. By the time you get through with the entire menu, which is 240 seconds, you kind of forget about why you called, right? And you never get anybody live, and that's possibly something. It sounds so small and minor, but truly, it's truly important, right? If somebody has not ever done business with the city of Harlingen and they're calling that, 240 seconds is an eternity from the time the call starts to the time it gets all the way through. I know the city employees are great. I know they're trying, but maybe a little bit of efficiency is something that all of us can try to help out. We do have a great city, a lot of potential for growth, and analyzing each city department to see how it can improve itself. So, we can attract what is important to the city, housing, revenue, and income. So I just encourage y'all to please take that to heart, and by all means, call that number when you have 240 seconds and hear it out and find out why it's so difficult to get through to somebody at City Hall. But on a positive note, I'm excited for everything that Harlingen's going to accomplish. Thank you very much, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you.
We have Mr. Desi Martinez regarding streets.
Hi, and I'm very happy to see this new leadership and look forward, and I agree with the gentleman. I used to be a builder in this area. But it's regarding the item number 7, SIP, the Street Improvements Program.
Mr.
Your
Martinez, I'm sorry, can you just, your name and
address, 1806 Haverford Boulevard. Used to live in 1229 South E, the other half of my life here. At any rate, regarding the SIP, the list, the engineers presenting, I haven't seen it. I don't think any of us have seen it, that he's presented for y'all to approve. But my cousin, Janie Muniz, that lives on Taft Street, and of course, our dear mayor that used to be a principal out there at Coakley and those schools, that cluster of schools out there. Taft Street is a collector street that needs improvement, and it should be done in the summer when kids are out of school, because it collects children, parents, and workers, etc., all the way from the east side, Treasure Hills, down to the east side of school. I don't know, this young engineer just came on board, realizes the traffic count in that area, but it's fantastic, and the street is in real need of street repairs and has been. Buchanan, excellent, it's improved. All the collector streets that are off, but yes, but Taft hasn't. So please amend it to be done, if possible, this summer. School's out. And I appreciate your time on that.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez.
We have no more citizens' communication.
Okay, then we'll go straight into the proclamations. We have two today. The first one is Elderly Abuse Awareness Month. We have Abigail Rivera, Monica Figueroa, Frank Gonzalez, Joe Cruz, and Marina Quesada. Thank you so much. So this proclamation is for Elder Abuse Awareness Month, whereas older adults and people with disabilities of diverse backgrounds contribute to the well-being of this city by working, caregiving, volunteering, and actively preserving customs, rituals, and traditions. And as we age, we build momentum by accumulating knowledge, experience, insight, and wisdom that can be shared to enrich our community. And whereas abuse of older adults and people with disabilities in a community concern affecting thousands of people across Texas, and abuse affected more than 118,208 older adults and people with disabilities in Texas in 2021. And whereas abuse against elder adults and people with disabilities is grossly underreported because of social stigma, embarrassment, and fear, and adult abuse affects men and women of all income and ability levels, all cultural and ethnic backgrounds, and all communities. And whereas elder abuse is everyone's business, it's important to strengthen our efforts to prevent, report, and address elder abuse. Now therefore, I, Norma Sepulveda, Mayor of the City of Harlingen, Texas, in recognition thereof, do hereby proclaim the month of June 22, 2022 to be Elder Abuse Awareness Month in Harlingen, Texas, and urge all residents to work together to reduce abuse and neglect of older adults and people with disabilities. And I have another special proclamation, and it's for Mr. Mayor Sam Lozano. Will you approach? You're amazing. This is a true pleasure for me to do. Let me just grab you over here so that way There we go. Okay.
By the way, this is my wife.
Hi there. Oh, hi, cutie. The memories in the making. Okay, so this proclamation is for you, Mayor. It says, whereas Sam Lozano served 3 terms as mayor from 1970 to 1972 and 1983 to 1987 as city commissioner for 7 terms from 1962 to 1970 and 1977 to 1983. Wow. And whereas he served during World War II, then attended college on the GI Bill to become a lifelong educator. And whereas Mr. Lozano became the first Hispanic mayor of Harlingen in 1970. His foremost accomplishments include the development of Victor Park and garnering pensions for public safety officials. Therefore, I, Norma Sepulveda, Mayor of the City of Harlingen, and on behalf of the Harlingen City Commissioners, do hereby deem it an honor and pleasure to extend this recognition to Mr. Sam Lozano for his past accomplishments as former Mayor and City Commissioner for a total of 20 years in public service, and hereby proclaim June 1st, 2022 as Sam Lozano's Day, and urge all citizens to extend to Mr. Lozano our sincere appreciation for his past dedicated services and continued support to the City of Harlingen, a citizen who has earned the respect of the community, family, and friends. In witness thereof, I, Norma Sepulveda, Mayor of the City of Harlingen, Texas, have hereunto set hand and caused the seal of the Harlingen, Texas to be affixed on this first day of June 2022. I figured I'd read it all because it's such a privilege and an honor for me to provide the keys. This is the first time I do this, so it's exciting for me, the keys to the city, and I couldn't think of a better person to give it to but the first Hispanic mayor of the City of Harlingen. The first person to create history right here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the city of Harlingen in 1970 was a totally different Harlingen, and so the fact that Mr. Lozano was able to be mayor at that time was truly a historic moment. So I hope everybody remembers where they were today when Mr. Lozano got the keys to the city of Harlingen, because he is well deserving.
Well, thank you very much. Nice meeting you. I've been wanting to meet you, and it's been a privilege really to have served when it was difficult here in this community to be in government, but thank God that through efforts and hard work, we were able to penetrate the wall that seemed to separate El Mexicano, and it wasn't easy, but thank God we accomplished it, and so now we're one city that is doing everything possible from all angles and all languages and differences of opinion to be here next to a woman mayor. We've come a long way. I wasn't expecting to say anything, but I wanted to have met her before I even got this close to her, but congratulations for being mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
And so from mayor to mayor, we have a great city, we have great people, as you can see, and I'm sure that we're in good hands. And it's with humble heart, I give. I said it so hard. The opportunity really to serve. And I never thought someone from the west side would ever be a mayor of Harlingen, but not only a mayor, but now a woman mayor, so we've come a hell of a long way.
Sí se puede.
And I see a few people here that I haven't seen in a long while. Like the person was not there. So again, thank you for being here. And thanks to the commission,
Thank you, Mayor. Everybody wants a picture with you because you're a celebrity. Item number 2 on the agenda is the approval of minutes. We have the regular meetings of February 2nd, 2022. Are there any changes to the minutes? No? Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, we have the consent agenda, items 3A through 3G. Do you have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution to appoint Norma Sepulveda, Mayor, as the primary member, and Gabriel Gonzalez, City Manager, as the alternative member to the RGV MPO Policy Board. Gabe?
Mayor, members of the commission, Chris Boswell was a former mayor that was appointed to the RGB MPO. We now need to appoint our new mayor, Norma Sepulveda, as the primary member and myself as the alternate, so I recommend approval of the item.
Motion for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, before we get to item number 5, I would like to point out that we've had a charter amendment, and in that charter amendment, the voters of the city of Harlingen voted to reduce the number of airport board members from 9 to 7. So the commission may want to take up the makeup of that board by considering item number 12 before item number 5.
Okay.
Mayor, we just had the city election.
So we're going to go ahead and move item number 12 first, and that is board appointments. Do we have any board appointments?
I'd like to appoint Mike Garza to the Harlingen Waterworks. Maybe.
I have none, Mayor.
And I have one, Kirk, no, he's here. Schubert, is that right? Kirk Schubert to the Animal Advisory Board. Do you have anything else, Commissioner Uribe?
No, ma'am. Yes, I'd like to go on the fact that we just had the charter amendment. I'd like to retain 7 of those slots, right? So what I'd like to recommend is the airport board's seat 1 and 2. They presently being held by Colonel Dowling and Mr. Resendez Tito. Seat 3, Ricky Leal. Seat 4, Vicky Moore. Seat 5, Judy Ezel. Seat 6, Nick Consiglio. And seat 7, Ronaldo Rubiano. I'd like to make that motion.
Do you have a second?
Second.
I'm confused. Are we on back to 5 or are we still on 12?
We're on 12.
We're on 12.
But based on, Commissioner Uribe is saying, based on the recent election and the change in the composition of the airport board, he's moving to retain 7 because that's what the voters elected to do.
But I don't see anything on 12 for the airport.
It says airport right there, the
Where?
first item.
Ah, bingo. The short word.
Very good.
Yes.
Got it.
First,
Good
first
job.
one there,
Under A.
Commissioner Mesmer. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we're going to go back to item number 5. Consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading amending the Harlingen City Code, Chapter 8, Aviation, Article 2, Section 8.86 to replace it with a new Section 8.86, created composition, appointment, removal, terms, and vacancies, and ethics. Council?
Yes, an ordinance amending Harlingen City Code, Chapter 8, Aviation, Article 2, Section 8.86, and to replace it with a new Section 8.86.
Is there any discussion? Do you have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 6, consideration and possible action to repeal ordinance 06-05, Chapter 38, Section 38-103, establishing new tipping fees for non-residents and commercial establishments, and Section 38-105 to limit the exemptions allowed.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Commissioners. The current tipping fees have not changed since 2006, and we believe that a consequence of that has been that we started receiving a lot of non-residential and commercial establishments coming to our transfer station facility. And so there is a misconception out there that we have an active landfill, and in fact, we have a closed landfill with a transfer station, which means that we transport everything to a contract landfill we currently have with Bronzeville. And from time to time, we've had to actually close our transfer station because of the amount that we started receiving, being that we are the lowest price. So we did some research, and we found out that the prices range anywhere from $36 to $85. And we are proposing to increase that, our fees, our tipping fees, to the rate of $93.50 per 2,000 pounds or per ton. Anything less than 2,000, anything over than 2,000 would be at a prorated rate of $93.50 to go above that, just to be prorated within our system. We are looking to do this sometime in August 1st to allow time for people to get adjusted. We're going to put out some advertisements, put it on social media, get with our regular people that come in. In addition to that, we have been contacted by TCEQ, and they recommend that we do a $10 fee for any commercial that is running our streets without a covered top that has any type of debris or construction material. They need to be covered so that they're not, they don't have papers and stuff flying around throughout the city. So that would be a standard fee for any load that is identified that does not have a cover. And for the Section 38105 exemptions, we want to not allow double axle trailers to come in and no trailers longer than 8 feet.
And how are you suggesting to communicate that to the clientele that you're receiving?
Right, so again, we want to give like a grace period all the way to August. We're not going to, if this passes tonight, it's not going to take effect until August.
Yeah, but do you plan on giving like a flyer every time they come in, something with a receipt?
Yes.
Here,
Flyers we're going to have posted. We're going to post it on social media. We're going to post it on our website, and we're going to mail out to current residents that we already have on. I mean, current construction establishments that we already have on file.
And this is not going to affect our residential rates,
No, those will remain the same. This is only for non-residential and commercial establishments.
On that $10 fee that we'd be charging for non-coverage, does that go to the PCQ, or are we going to be able to keep that?
That is, I believe that is, that stays with us, but it's a TCQ recommendation.
Right, okay.
I just have a question on the double axle, because you see me there all the time.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of other roofing companies, local roofing companies have that double axle. So are we not going to be able to?
That is what we're proposing.
Okay, so that's going to impact a lot of the local businesses here. So what that means is that we're going to have to go out to other facilities, or
Right.
or can we change that to where we can still be included if we're in the city or if we're residents, or can we exclude that section, and is who's recommending that?
So we looked at several scenarios. We don't have a mechanism in place to track whether they're inside the city. Like we discuss if a commercial establishment has a building permit per se, and so that they're working in the city of Harlingen doing business in the city. Unfortunately, right now we don't have the software that we use for our scale is proprietary, so it's not linked to our outside building permits. It's not connected to any of those. We are looking to upgrade that system. That system has also not been upgraded, but we don't have a mechanism in place right now to be able to track it. So the consensus was to just not allow it at this time because of the fact that we've had to close from time to time.
Okay, but again, that punishes the local businesses here, and that's, I personally, because I own a roofing company, that's going to impact my business and a lot of other businesses. So can we?
Let me ask something. Couldn't use the building permit or the construction permit that they're using for that project? Couldn't they bring that with them to prove that it's from within the city?
So that's what we discussed, but unfortunately we have no way to verify it, that it's there or not. We would have to stop and call the building permits and see if it's active, because right now we don't have the system.
But hold on, that could be just a suggestion. That could be included in the permitting process itself. When they go pull the permit, that the building department would notify the landfill at the same time, right? That, hey, this project's going on, and they're authorized to dump between this, because you give an estimated.
Get the CO.
I mean, it's just it's a suggestion, right? To not, I understand his point, but what I think they're trying to do is because we're so low, we don't want to encourage people from outside of the valley to come in and dump, and then we got to go pay it back to ship it somewhere else.
No, I agree.
So I get that, but
But we don't have, roofing companies don't require permits. We don't have a building permit. So let me
Oh, you
just
want-
ask this, is,
can we require a permit for the roofers?
no.
I'm messing with you, man. Come on.
Let me ask this, can we go
No,
ahead?
see, you don't
can
wanna
we-
pay nothing.
Can we go ahead and approve this and then make an amendment on the second reading and discuss this later?
I suggest, I suggest we prove it as is, and then maybe you can meet with the staff and see if you can come up with an alternative.
Yeah, we can make an amendment on the
Is that
second
motion for
reading.
approval?
So it's going to affect local businesses, small businesses here in Harlingen, correct?
If they have trailers that are larger than 8 feet or double axle, the local small businesses that have a regular trailer or use their long bed pickup trucks and stuff, no, it won't affect them.
But the
But
majority.
local contractors
It might.
that,
yes.
so Harlingen contractors that are local contractors that are used to going to the facility, where would they have to go now? What's the
They can
closest?
continue to come, they're just gonna pay well, if they have a double axle, they can go to Bronzeville, they can go to La Feria, they can go to Edinburgh, Donna, that's what we're getting them from right now, that's what we started doing the research.
And I guess I didn't follow, why are you changing it? What is the purpose?
Because we're the lowest I guess in the market right now, we're getting overwhelmed from outside sources. For example, contractors from Bronzeville are driving all the way here to dump it so that we can transfer it, put it in a trailer, and take it back to Bronzeville.
There's issues with the transfer station because we've had to shut it down on occasion.
Right.
But we're trying to actually make it so that they're encouraged to go someplace else. But to Commissioner Fuentes' point, we can actually look at the ordinance to actually accommodate those double axle trailers by charging an added fee if they still want to dump at our landfill.
Right, that's what I mean, it seems like it would be smarter, not smarter, but maybe a different, an alternative would be to charge a fee instead of saying, no, we're not going to allow it, because it is going to affect, and especially, right, with the price of gas and sending local businesses to Brownsville. If there's no way to avoid that, then I'm sure that I would imagine that they'd prefer to pay a small fee instead.
Yeah, so that was my point of, I think we can pass it as is and let, come back with staff with an alternative or a solution.
Rodrigo,
For registration for local businesses.
Awesome.
We'll have to come up with some sort of.
Rodrigo, how much do they charge you in La Feria?
$85.
$85.
That's the transfer station that sends it to McCook Republic.
So then local businesses could go to La Feria and it would be cheaper than even coming here.
No, it's more expensive.
Huh?
La Feria is more expensive.
You just said it's $85. We're going to be 93.
Yeah, but right now, we've been more expensive. It's still, to the mayor's point, now you're asking local businesses to go outside of the city of Harlingen, and it's almost like you're punishing local businesses. And I know it's not that far, but believe me, pulling a trailer with that much tonnage
No, it's time and
and
fuel.
going a couple of times a week does make an impact. So again, I would agree with Mr. Gonzalez and Commissioner Ribes. Let's just go ahead and pass as is, and on the second reading, we'll come back with an amendment to figure out how we can make some kind of compromise or a fair compromise. So I would like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Rodrigo.
Item number 7, consideration and possible action to approve the proposed list of streets within the 2022 to 2023 Streets Improvement Program.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Craig Cook, Assistant City Manager. Before I make some remarks, I have a couple of page changes to give you for your books.
Oh, geez.
That's the first page, that's the last page. First page.
Awesome, thank you.
Hey, sure, the last guy used to do that a lot.
First page.
Okay, thank you.
So the last guy did that a lot. Hey, this looks like
Thought you were rushing to, thought you were going to jump.
So the purpose of the page changes is to inform you that we've made a couple of slight additions and deletions to two lists. We are currently finishing the design of the 21-22 list. We hope to put that on the street this month or next, and then we'll start paving in October. And to that list, we are adding an additional 650 centerline feet of Clifford Street in the Treasure Hills area. We're doing 4,765 feet of that street already. We want to add the last two blocks to connect it to Haynes Street. That's about a 12% increase of the work on Clifford. So that's the addition for the work that we will be paving next year. And then the list that I am seeking your approval for is the list that we will be designing this year, this next budget year, and then paving in the following year. And to that list, we are deleting one block of Garfield Avenue there at the cemetery. It's almost an alleyway, and we repaved it a few years ago, so it really doesn't need to be repaved at all. And of course, that will save us some money. And so the purpose of the new map, the last page I gave you, was to delete Garfield from that map.
May I ask how you come up with the criteria of which, how are you prioritizing the projects right now?
These two lists are the last lists of efforts done several years ago, I would say 4 or 5 years ago, at least one city engineer ago. We are trying to get under contract a firm to come in and assess all of our streets, much like Google Earth drives around and takes pictures of buildings. This company takes pictures of roads and assesses them on a scale of 1 to 20. And when we get that list, then we will prioritize the really bad ones from the really good ones.
How long does that take?
And create
What's the
more
time
lists.
frame on that? I mean, how is that like a year process, 2-year process?
Well, they're only here once they get here, they'll only be here a couple of weeks doing that, and then probably a month to assimilate the data.
Well, because the question I have is, obviously some streets are utilized more than others and whatnot, right? But, I'd like to see some kind of calculation where every district is represented equitably, right? Because they're all paying the same tax. The map is now drawn up pretty evenly across where you got, so many people in each district, right? And it's divided property. So what I don't want to see is maybe like District 2 or District 3 or that they get skipped over on a cycle, right?
Yes.
Because what is are we doing? Is it up to 4 million now? The budget?
No, it's about 2-ish.
Okay, well, it's grown, right? And even if you put all that into one district, it makes it's a great impact, but it's a very small impact, right? I mean, it's never getting enough money.
Yeah.
But I think
a dozen streets a
as long
year.
as we're distributing the monies equally every year, that every district at least gets something, right? That their tax dollars are being. It's not like, well, I'm gonna take care of you next time. No, I think if we keep that up, it's just a more level. And I can see the map. I think everybody's getting work done, right?
Yes.
But yeah, that's just my concern. So like I don't know what area, what district is in the pink, right? Obviously, not getting a lot of work done, and this green area also not, right? It's more concentrated in the center and out here, and that's just my visual.
But again, that's just this year's, I should say next year's.
Right.
Next year's work.
Right. So, I just, when do you think you can bring that back to the commission as far as getting that study done? Because that would help a lot, right?
Well, as I say, we're trying to get them under contract, and we won't have the results for several months. But we don't really need another list until we've
Done these.
designed the list I hope you're about to
Right,
approve.
okay. I got you. No, I understand.
Great.
Yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Oh, thank you. Great. I drove around my district because once I saw this on the agenda packet that we received, I drove around my district looking at the specific streets that were, for my district, that were going to get worked on. And I wanted to, like earlier today, I was driving down Brenneman Road, and I went down that street from Stewart Place all the way to Dilworth. And that street, in my opinion, is not as bad off as other streets in my district.
I agree.
And I wanted to substitute, because one that I've been getting a lot of calls from is the South Palm Court, from Garrett Road all the way down to, I believe it's Plumeria Lane. I think that's the name, Plumeria Lane. It's on, so South Palm Court from Garrett all the way down to Plumeria Lane. I would like to substitute that one for the Brenneman Road from Stewart Place to Dilworth.
Would that be the same mileage or something?
Honestly, I don't know. That's why I'm suggesting it. I don't know. The details of how long it is and stuff like that, I don't know. But if possible, I'd want to substitute that one because, from my opinion and from a lot of the feedback that I've received from the community, that street's a lot. It's a lot worse in wear and tear. Plus, also when I drove down Brenneman, it's a street and there are some houses along that street, but there's big sections of it that are just kind of like empty fields. And then on South Palm Court, that's one of the growing areas in my district. And then especially around the LE Circle and the Plumeria, that's like a subdivision that's being built, all these new homes, new families, and new houses being built. And I think we'd get more bang for our buck if we did that, because it'd be providing better roads for a larger group of people.
Because we haven't started the design, the list is flexible today, so we'll take that under advisement. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Question.
Yes.
Does this paper supersede what's in our packet?
Yes.
Okay.
That one is this one, the second one.
Yeah, and so in the packet, it says 2021, 2022 street improvement. Shouldn't it be 22, 23 in the packet?
The 21-22 list you approved back last summer.
Okay.
August, I think.
Okay.
The list we're approving tonight is 22, 23.
Okay, got it.
Sorry.
Technology.
And how much has the price of asphalt gone up with the price of oil and petrols?
We'll find out here in about late August. I would say quite a bit.
So I'm guessing 50, 80%?
I would guess. The estimate that we have for the roads that we are finishing the design of is right about the money we have. And I don't want to disclose that because that always becomes the bid price.
Right.
But it's about the same. Now,
so when reality meets theory, we may pave less footage
that's right.
of roads?
That's right. And if you think of this as one list, where you can just draw a line at the roads we can afford and then pick up from there.
Right.
Conversely, if you get a good price, maybe we can do more roads this year, fewer roads next year. That's why we're always designing a set and always paving a set each year.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's logistics and materials, right? That I think at some point, just like in other businesses, just to get the material, it'd be tough. If this commission hadn't bought vehicles, over the last couple of years, and we bought quite a few of them. I mean, you can't buy a vehicle right now. So I'm very happy that we bought vehicles at the time we did. So it may be the same thing, like you said. Let's find out how much we can do right now, with what we have, because the following year is only going to get tougher and tougher to get just the materials, right?
And to the gentleman's point earlier, we're doing Taft from the highway, the freeway, to 3rd Street, which is right at the school.
Right.
Next year, we'll do from that point to Commerce, which is the rest of Taft.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 8, consideration and possible action to adopt a resolution abandoning a dedicated right-of-way easement legally described as a 0.794 acre of land out of a portion of Block 12 and 13, Stewart Place Subdivision, Survey 139, Cameron County, Texas, located on the north side of Expressway 83 east of Tam Road.
Mayor, City Commissioners, good evening. We have a proposed commercial development along the north side of the expressway between Altas Palmas Road and Tam Lane. It's a new project. The property was recently purchased by Mr. Backer from Bird Ogden for some major commercial developments. There is a right-of-way easement that runs east and west that was dedicated 101 years ago that needs to be abandoned to facilitate the commercial development. When the expressway was built back in the 60s, that made that right-of-way easement obsolete. So staff recommends approval.
So the right-of-way is empty.
Yeah, there's nothing, let me show you a picture. That's the aerial photograph of the property. That's the location of the right-of-way easement. And that's the photo. The easement runs like this. There's nothing there.
I meant underground.
No, there's nothing. Yeah.
Any discussion? You have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 9, consideration and possible action to approve the preliminary ranking of the insurance consulting firms for professional consultant services of insurance for employee benefits.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. We went out for our RFQs for professional consultant services for Windstorm. I'm sorry. That's the next item. For employee service benefits, we had 6 respondents. Each respondent was individually evaluated, and the highest ranking firm is Hub International in first place and McGriff in second place. We are asking for the Commission's assistance in selecting the firm and authorize the city manager to negotiate a contract with the recommended firm.
What is Hub?
Hub is, I don't know
I mean, are those initials of a
Yes.
firm? Okay.
Is there any discussion?
Are they located here, or they're regional, or?
Yes, the Hub is actually located in Texas. Their main office is located in El Paso.
And they have offices down here?
Not that I noted here on the list.
Commissioner, the company would actually assist us in getting major medical and some of the other ancillary policies that we provide. So once they do that, then they're pretty much done with their work.
Yeah, I'm on their website now.
Did you have a question, Commissioner Mesmer?
It's all been answered.
Oh, okay, I was waiting on you, sorry. Is there any other discussion?
I have a question on, is this, who did we use last year?
McGriff.
And is that who you're recommending?
McGriff came in second place.
No, they're not recommending it. It's Hub.
Okay, and why is that?
And just the scoring that was done.
Okay, can you explain the scoring?
Sure.
Because what I want to know is, was it objective, was it subjective, was it performance-driven, or was it somebody's opinion? And who was made up of the panel that ranked?
The panel was made up.
Do you have that in my packet? Is that in
Yes,
my-
everything is in the packet. The actual panel was made up of Josh Ramirez, Robert Rodriguez, Efrain Fernandez, and myself, Oscar Salinas.
Okay, and tell me where the company we've been, and how long have we been using the previous company?
I believe it's been several years. McGriff has, we've had a good response from them.
It's been about 6 years.
Yeah.
That we've used McGriff. Now, there were some years that we didn't go out for bids. We just-
And did they perform poorly? And I just want to know how they got outranked, and how the company you're recommending outperforms them. And, you know, how did Valley Risk score so low? What was the problem with them? What was the problem with the one that scored even lower than that, or the Barrett at 82?
Yeah.
Again, were they performance-driven measures?
The rankings were,
Commissioner, they were just, they were.
No, I know. I want him to tell me how he came up with that.
yes, the rankings were divided into like the overall understanding of the scope of the
Okay, so-
project.
Again,
The-
please, if you can please tell me how, let's first answer the first question of between who we used last year and who you're recommending now, how is that one better?
Okay,
How did they outperform the ranking?
it was just based on the ranking, and that's what we are here for your input and assistance in making the decision.
No, I understand it, but how did you come up with them outscoring the previous person?
If we look at the tabulation, there is a,
Yeah, there's a score
One-
sheet. How did you come up with the score?
the score sheet was provided through purchasing.
Do you have a breakdown of that, how they came up with that number?
It should be in your packet.
I have the numbers.
Yes, but the actual score sheet should be there too.
Mayor, may I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
It seems to me you either trust these 4 employees to do their job, or you'd better fire them. I mean, we put them to work, and they came up with something, so let them work.
Mike, I want to know how they came up with it. It's a fair question. Was it performance driven? Did they not do their job? Were they late to? Could they not perform? Are they not bonded?
We're buying sausage, we're not asking how it was made.
Let's just stay on point. It looks like, based on the rating, it was 97.5, right, previous?
Yes.
For McGriff, and Hub is 98.25. It doesn't seem like a substantial
It's not a
change.
substantial, some of the, depending on how and who scored what, it might just be how they perceived the, let's say, their knowledge or understanding of the scope of the project.
Okay, so that's to my point. If somebody's, again, and they haven't been doing business with us for 20 years, but they've been doing our evaluations the last 4 or 5 years, and they've done a good job, unless they royally screwed up, I mean, for one, somebody to be subjected, you know, I don't like the way they filled out that application, I'm gonna ding them on that, which is what happens, and that's the procurement process, the way we go out contracts, I've always said, has to be more fair, more transparent, more exact, and not subjective, right? Because I'm assuming every one of these companies are very reputable, and it's again, it's all on perception. You know, it's like our permitting process. You know, you can read the ordinance or the specs on what needs to be done, but if the inspector says it's different, then it's different. And that's why I'm telling you that with this panel, you know, how did that person who's been doing work with us, they just did a poor job? And
No, it's not, it wasn't based on their performance either. So it's
Okay.
based on the criteria that was developed by purchasing as far as, you know, the general understanding of the scope, the number of references, municipal references, and things of that nature. And that's how maybe they got dinged a little bit more than others. Have they done the job? Have they done a good job? Yes, they have. And that's why we are here, to ask for your guidance.
Do they have an office here?
You know, they're in the Dallas Metroplex area.
Yeah, so that's another problem.
Are there any that are local?
The local representatives here,
There were some.
Yeah.
There were some.
we have some local representation. Most of them are gonna be from the San Antonio area also, but they have local, they have local representation.
Oscar, who were the local companies that submitted? I don't recall.
Local, Valley Risk, out of McAllen,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. The others are from the San Antonio, El Paso, Austin area.
And again, my,
Excuse me. Point of order, this is Frank. Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes, sir.
good. Mr. Salinas,
Yes, sir.
uh-oh, he's got that look.
all right, here's my information, which I got this yesterday when I picked up the packet. Barrett is out of McAllen. Gallagher is out of Austin. McGriff, which is Scott Gibbs, is out of Addison, which is the side of Dallas. McGriff, Gibbs, they have been the consultant for Harlingen for the past 14 out of the past 15 years. You gave him 100, just like Mr. Fernandez, who's on his way out, okay? And I questioned Mr. Fernandez a year ago, okay? And he couldn't answer. One of the programs I tried to do for the city of Harlingen that has fallen on the deaf ears, and I'm restarting again, is trying to get a wellness program, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Serna brought it up, and he told me specifically he was going to talk to the insurance consultant to see how we can implement it. When I pressed him, he came back to me asking me to tell him how this wellness program would help the city of Harlingen. Mr. Fernandez, on the other hand, was going to go out for bids to save us money. The wellness program that I had in place, well, not that I had in place, the one that I'm asking for you guys, and I'm referring to staff, to look and check out the numbers and make sure it's doable. By my estimates, it would have saved the city of Harlingen $360,000, $600 per employee, okay? Mr. Fernandez, who's on his way out, wanted to have bids.
That's twice he's on his way
Save
out.
us more money. You can ask him, but I don't think anything was ever done. So I'm sorry to tell you or correct you here, but Barrett is out of McAllen, and so is this Valley Risk is out of McAllen. Everybody else, the closest would be Gallagher out of Austin. And one of the things I need to remind my fellow commissioners that was brought up to our attention not long ago by Mayor Boswell and Dan Serna, the city manager prior. And I quote, "You voted for it. Zero consideration was given to the fact that staff led us in one direction and we had a choice between 1, 2, and 3. And whether we chose 1, 2, or 3, it was already set up. In this particular case, which is something I've been harping on since August, I would disregard the top 3 that everybody's leading us toward and go with either Valley Risk out of McAllen, who had the contract for a very short period of time, or Barrett, which is both of these groups are out of McAllen. That's my opinion, sir. I appreciate you taking the hits for Mr. Efren Fernandez, who's on his way out. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's going to be working in Brownsville in the very short near future.
Okay, so.
Yes, and that is correct. Barrett does have local representation out of McAllen.
So again, so what bothers me, sticks out, is that, you know, both of those companies scored perfect scores on it, right? They got hundreds, and then the other ones are way below it, 65, 55, and I really would like to see what that is. So I'd like to make a motion, we table, and I'd like to get some more answers, and we can look at that at the next meeting.
Second.
But before we vote, Frank Morales, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I am on point. You said that it cost the city over $300,000. Where did you get your data
It would save
from?
the city $360,000.
Okay. Where did you get your data for $360,000?
The whole premise of this wellness program is to save $600 per employee. That's where I get $360,000.
And how do you
If we
get
have 600
$600?
employees that sign up on the average of $600. I have presented that to the assistant finance director. I've yet to be able to set up a meeting for Mr. Gonzalez so he can be on a Zoom and he can partake on that presentation. We've had elections, we've had little odds and ends that have come up. Now we're back to square one, which means, sir, you yourself can be part of that Zoom so you can observe it and ask the questions. And if there's another program, another wellness program that can save us money, please, let's use it. Why? Because I believe, and I might be wrong, if we have a wellness program, these insurance companies that we're looking at, or this insurance consultant will bring up, they will see that we're proactive in trying to reduce our risk. Meaning what? Hopefully, we will have a reduction in how much we pay into our insurance. By the same token, the city saves money, and the employee themselves walks away with $50 to $75 more in their pocket. But the decision will be made later because I need Mr. Gonzalez, maybe yourself, maybe the new HR person, to sit for this Zoom, crunch out the numbers, and present it to us to make sure that what I'm saying is correct. Or if there's something better, let's open our minds and stop getting out of this box that we have to keep things the same way. That's all I'm asking for, Commissioner Mismar.
Okay, Mayor, so Mayor, we have a first and a second. Before we vote, I want to make sure we can, if I can get with you sometime next week to look at that, as far as the rankings and how they,
Yeah,
we can sit down and talk about it.
we do need to make a decision at the next meeting because we're getting short on time.
No, that's fine.
Somebody on board.
I get it, but it's just, how does somebody score 100 and then somebody else in the panel gives them a 55?
What we can also do is just bring in some of the consultants that you'd like to see. At the next meeting, have them present to the commission.
Okay.
You could do that yourself.
All right.
Gabe, I had a quick question, and you partially answered it. So when is the deadline that we have, because we're always tabling, so by next meeting, we have to get it
The
done?
next meeting, yeah, we definitely have to have somebody on board.
We can call a special meeting.
Well, we have to have the insurance on board for the budget discussions, and we're working on budget now, so we might have to reduce their timeline that we normally have to solicit quotes for health insurance by 2 weeks, because that's what we're going to lose between now and
So-
the next meeting.
Yeah.
So would it be a good idea to do like maybe a special meeting, like Richard suggested, so we won't lose so much time?
We can.
We should have a renewal proposal from our current medical provider sometime between this week and next week. And then at that point, it would have been nice for the consultant to start working on it. But we can look at it and say, you know what, it's gonna look like we might have to go out for proposals or not at that point, but we'll have more information once we have that information in
But
front
I
of
think
us.
the rate we got from United is higher than what we were expecting to pay.
Yes, definitely. But it was just a preliminary number.
Right.
Call to vote.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries. Item number 10, consideration and possible action to approve the preliminary ranking of the insurance consulting firms for professional consultant services of insurance for Windstorm.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. We went out for RFQs for professional consulting services for Windstorm Insurance, and we had 2 respondents. Each respondent was individually evaluated, and the highest ranking firm is Carlisle Insurance in first place, and the Clement Agency in second. We are asking for the Commission's assistance in selecting a firm and to authorize the city manager to negotiate a contract with the recommended firm.
Is there any discussion? Is there a motion?
Motion to select Carlisle.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 11, consideration and possible action to authorize the mayor on behalf of the city of Harlingen to enter into a law enforcement mutual aid or assistance interlocal agreement between Cameron County Sheriff, Cameron County Precinct 1 through 5, constables, and the Cameron County Park Rangers.
Mayor, Commissioners, this is an MOU really with the county and primarily the Sheriff's Department through Customs and Border Protection. It involves Operation Stone Garden, which we are a sub-grantee of, and we provide officers working the Operation Stone Garden region, which typically runs outside the city limits a little bit. The reason for this extended MOU is they're looking at the end of Title 42, and CBP feels that when that ends, they're going to have a large influx of immigrants across the border. They're going to pull most of their agents back for processing, and they're requesting this type of assistance so that we may further work the county area, including up into Brownsville and all the way to the Cameron County border, west side. Just makes it official with all the other agencies that are listed here for Operation Stone Garden that we would have that jurisdiction. I have reviewed it with city legal, and we're recommending approval.
Any discussion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. That concludes our meeting. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us tonight.
See y'all adjourned. Is everyone ready to go to Brownsville?